Holy shit. Good morning, everyone! Before we get started, I just want to remind you that I do have Valentine's Day merch! Please check it out! It would mean a lot to me, make me very, very, very happy. Te amo, te quiero, te amo, te quiero! Hello, everyone! Good morning! Good morning! Okay. Wait. How many background noises do I have on right now? Just one? Okay, cool. Hello, everyone! Good morning, everyone! Good afternoon! Hello, hello, hello! Welcome to my second Wellness Wednesday stream. I don't think we're gonna be doing these every Wednesday because that is unrealistic. But we will be doing them at least once a month. That's my goal, because I realized creating like a college level presentation every week is not really realistic. You love the Wellness Wednesday logo? Thank you, I made it. Yeah, it's not very realistic because it's a lot. I said thank you! Thank you!
Looking forward to another Wellness Wednesday.
Thank you!
I often get brainworms. Calling you son and worrying it upsets you. Feeling familial toward you and worrying I'm parasocial. And worrying I'm not supporting you enough. Anyway, love you, Poma.
Oh, you're okay. Oh, I love you. I love you guys so much. You mean so much to me. It's hard dealing with brainworms. Brainworms are very, very common. Everybody kind of gets them. Everybody gets brainworms. Even the most stable people get them, right? But it's how you deal with them. That's the most important part. But a lot of people get them and they don't know how to deal with them. Or they don't even realize that they're brainworms. They just think it's reality. And so I think it's really important to learn about what brainworms are, how they impact you, and how you can deal with them. What if my brainworms are real, correct, and true? No, they're lying to you. They're lying to you! I don't even know what they are. Exactly. So let's get into it. Because it's important. You can't fix a broken sink without understanding what a fucking sink is. So, no, you didn't miss anything. Today, this is the beginning slide. Today, we are talking about brainworms, and more fancifully known as cognitive distortions. Let's start. Okay, picture this. You send a text message to someone you care about after a long and hard day. Long and hard. Long and hard. Okay? And they read it. You get a red response, but they don't ever respond. Okay? Picture it. Put yourself in their shoes. Okay? Then there's a little worm that pops up inside your head. And your brain starts to go, you embarrassed yourself. You ruined everything. They hate you. You always mess stuff up. No one really wants to be your friend. You're going to be forever alone. You're a failure. You're worthless. You're unlovable. And stupid. Then you start to feel really anxious. You check your phone 67 times. And you begin to spiral. Have any of you guys experienced anything like that? Have any of you guys experienced anything like that before? Or something similar where you do something and then your brain starts to tell you bad things and that you're all these bad things and you're stupid and blah, 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 blah. No, you've never had that before. Now I don't give a fuck. Now I don't give a single fuck at all. That, you know what? Now I just don't care. We love that. We love that you don't care. But for people that do get those thoughts, just, you're not alone. Those are called brainworms. And brainworms are actually called cognitive distortions. Woo, 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 woo. Rate your chat message, she hates you. Never. That happens when I make a mistake, not when waiting on something like that. Yeah, that makes sense. Like, this was just one example. There's multiple different things. It could be like you went to a job interview and it didn't go well, and then they never like. I mean, you went to a job interview and you start to think that it didn't go well, and then you think that you didn't like. You start spiraling, or it might be like you went to like you had an awkward social interaction, or you might have like. You might have stood up for yourself and then you thought, oh my God, I shouldn't have stood up for myself, blah, 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 blah. Is this like self-help coaching? Kind of, yeah. I guess so. Kind of. I guess. Sending a Maro and never getting an answer. Stuff like that. Job responses. Schooling. The way you present yourself. The way people see you. There's multiple ways that you, like that brainworms. This was just one example. Okay, anyways, brainworms are cognitive distortions. Now, what is a cognitive distortion? What the fuck even is that big ass word? So these are called, cognitive distortions are common thinking patterns. They can bend reality, especially when you're stressed, tired, anxious, depressed, or triggered. They are automatic, which means you can't control them. They just happen automatically. And they're very biased. But they can feel true, even if they often ignore evidence, context, and nuance. So even though they are not based in reality, they could feel real. Like it could, even though you're not actually presented with danger when your friend doesn't respond to you, your body doesn't know the difference and you start to think that you are. And you don't choose to have them on purpose. They're learned mental shortcuts your brain uses to predict danger and reduce uncertainty. It's a way of your brain protecting itself because your brain doesn't want to be hurt. No one wants to be hurt. In fact, well, unless you're a masochist, but that's a different type of hurt, okay? Like you're into that. That's like your thing. But there's a difference between like being hurt in a non-sexy way. And no one really wants to be hurt. So our brain come up with shortcuts and ways to protect ourselves. If we think we're going... So, okay, this is a really important thing that I think everybody, like... Oh, as a whole, I didn't get into it last time either, but we are social beings. Doesn't matter if you're a loner. Doesn't matter if you're, like, you don't really hang out with people very often. At our core, fundamentally, human beings are social creatures. Fundamentally. We would not be able to be this far as a species without community, teamwork, and belonging. We wouldn't have houses, we wouldn't have roads, we wouldn't have government laws, we wouldn't have, like, we would probably all be dead, right? Because we are not the strongest creatures, you know? We're not very strong, especially like where we came from. They're lions and other terrifying creatures. We had to stick together to be able to survive. So fundamentally, we care about being able to belong in a group. Being able to belong in a group is very important to us because it links to our survival. So it is not wrong to be scared when you're worried that you'll be kicked out of a group, because even today, community keeps people from like harming themselves, keeps them from happy, has hot, like it allows you to belong. Yeah. Groups are overrated, but social belonging is still at its fundamental core important to us as human beings. We can say, it's overrated, whatever. You're wrong. That's also a cognitive distortion, but we'll get into that, okay? But, by the way, you're wrong. Hey, I know this entire message of this will be more compassionate towards yourself, but also you're wrong. Fundamentally, if it's an impulse I try to ignore. See? You even admit it is an impulse you have, because everybody fundamentally wants to belong. Belonging leads to survival. Being excluded leads to dying alone by a bear mauling us alive. So therefore, we want to belong. God, I talk so differently about mental health. I get like so passionate. I talk so clear. I'm not like slurring my words like I normally do like this. I'm like, this is how it is. I know what I am talking about. I am never smart. Most of the time, I'm always uncertain, but this, I know. But yes, so these brain worms are actually trying to protect us. They're trying to anticipate danger. They're trying to make meaning, because making meaning is very important. Meaning making is actually like how we learn from things, how it determines on if we develop trauma or not, all those things. Two people can go through the same experience. Even siblings could go through the same experience, but gain different knowledge of, like, create different meaning of it, and that impacts them differently. Someone could be traumatized by something, and someone cannot be traumatized by something because they created different meaning. Thank you! It's on my birthday! It's your birthday! 1 second.
Whoop whoop Wellness Wednesday. It's also my day of birth today, yippee. My second one as part of the Pom squad. Hope to have many more together, less than 3.
Okay. 1 second. Here we go. Why do I have a recorder to sing happy birthday to people when they tell me it's their birthday? Duh. That's why I have a recorder. It's only for you guys. Happy birthday! Was that a recorder in the desk? No, I just have it on my bookshelf. That one was applied. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You can see when she takes breaths. Stop analyzing me so much. Just kidding. Where was I? But yeah, meaning making, it's important. So like, it's the way your uses to predict danger and to protect you, essentially. Okay. Why do they matter? Distortions matter because they can create anxiety, shame, anger, hopelessness. It can increase conflict. They can push you into helpful coping mechanisms such as avoidance, people pleasing and seeking reassurance, shutting down, snapping at others, going into flight or fight. There's a lot of reasons why it's important to understand and deal with brain worms, because ultimately it impacts your quality of life and your ability to relate and form relationships. It affects your ability to belong. There's so many things that it impacts your self-worth. It impacts like everything. So they're very important to understand. Why did it do that? Okay, where this comes from. Ignore how I wrote that. Okay, where does this come from? Okay, 1 second. I'm gonna get annoyed because things are gonna. 1 second, but I'll explain this while. Okay. So wait, how do I just like remove it? Wait, how do I just remove? How do I just remove it? There we go. Okay. So, something important to remember about everything that I'm going to be showing you, most of the time, some are, what did I show you guys last week? Oh yeah, okay, so therapy is kind of like, how do I explain this? How do I explain this? Okay, 1 second. I think I just have animation on every, okay, remove all animations. There we go. Okay, I think I fixed it. Okay. Okay. Therapy is expensive, you are correct. Okay, so this comes from cognitive behavioral therapy, otherwise known as CBT, not cock and ball torture, not cock and ball torture, not cock and ball torture. Glad we covered that. So, a little bit about CBT that I know off the top of my head from school is that CBT is the most research therapy. So it is the most, they say that it is the best and most effective therapy, but that's just because it's the one that's the most researched. If you were to get therapy through like work or something, most of the time they do use CBT, but they normally do a blend of different theories. Therapy is interesting because I need to figure out like an analogy for therapy. Therapy is like cooking, okay? And therapists are the chef, okay? And therapists, there are a bunch of different like counseling theories that people can and therapists can use. And a lot of the time, therapists will use multiple theories and mix them together, like food, right? And different theories focus on different things. They believe different things. They have different ideas of how to solve things and why people are the way they are, or how to fix things, okay? So not every therapist is the same, and that's why it's important to find a therapist that works for you, because one counseling theory might not work for you, but another one can. Yeah, it's kind of like music genres. You can mix music genres together. You can have like different types of music genres, but like there's still like genres of therapy. And there is not one single one that does work for people. People say that cognitive behavioral therapy works the best, but that's because it's had the most funding and the most research, because it's like the quickest, I guess. But let's say you do cognitive behavioral therapy, but your underlying issues are due to trauma or like more complicated things. It's more like putting a Band-Aid on, but it does help. So does that make sense? Is electroshock just like heavy metal? Just great. I guess so. So that's why it's important to find a therapist that works with you and that you, yeah. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Yeah. Anyway, so this is from cognitive behavioral therapy. Again, this does not mean it's like the be all end all, but it is one that's commonly used a lot. It's very much used, and yeah, okay. So they focus on the links between thoughts, what your brain says, feelings, your emotional reaction, behavior, what you do next, and your body. Like your response, your heart racing, your chest, your heart, your numbness, everything. CBT teaches you to spot the distortions and replace them with thoughts that are more balanced and based in reality. So it's focusing on your thoughts, feelings, behavior, and body. And it wants to help you change your thoughts so it can affect your feelings and make you behave better and deal with the stress that your body feels. Okay? Or like a toolsmith that you need to work with. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't know if it kills, but I keep in mind they get money. So if anything, doing something about your problems with them also benefits them. If anything, doing something about your problems with them also benefit them. Yeah, and a lot of the times therapists want you to not be in therapy. Not that they hate you, but they just they want you to do better. They want what's best for you. They want you to get to a place where you don't need therapy. They're on your side. A good therapist is. Okay. Important to note, having brain worms does not mean you are broken or a failure. They're just the way your brain trying to protect itself. Everyone gets brain worms, even therapists, even emotionally secure people. The goal is not to eliminate thoughts. The goal is to notice them, question them, and replace them with more balanced thinking. A healthy mindset is, my brain is creating a scary story. Let's check the facts. It's recognizing, it's kind of like mindfulness in a sense, where you're lying on, imagine you're lying in a field and there's a cloud going by and you see the cloud and it's like a thought. It's like, you're a bad person, and you see that thought and you go, okay, I recognize that's a thought I have, but that doesn't mean I need to jump on the cloud and fly away with it. You can recognize it and then check the facts, right? Does that make sense? Star Wars taught you this? Sign too close. Do mental illnesses make the worms worse? I think it can. It depends. I think people with, how do I explain this? I think people who are neurodivergent and deal with mental illness a lot of the time compare themselves to normal functioning people because society is built in a way to, for those people. So a lot of times we end up being like, I can't do this like everybody, my peers can, so then I must be a failure. I think it's less that at some points you can be susceptible to be more sensitive. People are born more sensitive. I'm born more sensitive. It's not anything wrong with you. It's just you feel more. I feel more. When I was a kid, I used to not be able to watch movies with a character being bullied in it because I would sob and cry. Or even if people talked mean to a character, I couldn't watch it because I'd cry. I still can't watch videos where dogs get rescued because I cry. I am more insensitive. That's just who I am. But I do have strategies and stuff that I deal with it. I've learned it through therapy, through schooling. I do try. Yeah, I feel deep. I feel deeply. Even Mean Girls didn't watch that growing up. When I be growing up, I mean from ages 1 to 8. You know? Okay. Mean Girls is peak. So, me not cry, but get angry, and I wish I could do something to help. So fuck yeah. Yeah, you're like, hell yeah. You only feel negative. Saying most people only feel negative emotions chemically for 90s. Anything past this shows for 90s. Huh? Could you explain that a bit more? In the meantime, let's meet the worms! 90 seconds. That's not true. Some people can feel things for longer and have more, can have more urges to act in a way for a longer time. But a lot of it is, thank you, Devil, thank you. Te quiero, thank you. Thank you. Thank you for missing 5 people join the Pom Squad. Thank you. But some people can have, it's about riding a wave because a lot of urges and stuff are a wave. And if you can ride it out, it gets better afterwards. Normally it's 20 minutes or something like that. That's what they say. That's an addiction theory. but also like it can help with like emotional regulation and everything like that. Anyways, let's meet the worms. Start with worm number 1. So we're going to be talking about the worms, and each worm is going to have a name. And the name is actually a different type of cognitive distortion, but we're just gonna name them as worms, okay? And then we're gonna talk about like how, like a definition, what it does, and like a little way of how to manage it, okay? And some examples, okay? So let's start with catastrophizing. Catastrophizing is jumping to the worst possible outcome and treating it like it's likely or inevitable. So a lot of these are gonna like overlap in terms of like sounding really similar, but there are like little distinct differences. But anyways, okay. Hi. So what it does is it can trigger panic, urgency behaviors like dooming, like being like, oh my God, like, cause like an example is like, oh no, I have a chest pain. I might be having a heart attack. Immediately jumping to like a heart attack without being like, oh, why is my chest hurting, and being curious. It's like, I'm about to die. What if I disagree with my friends on this? I will lose an important relationship. So you feel like you can't like disagree because you're like, if I do that, they will hate me forever. And so you end up seeking reassurance, being like, are we okay? Is everything okay? You start dooming, being like, oh, this is the end of the world. I'm gonna die. I'm never gonna get the job. Blah blah blah. Like this is the worst thing ever. I'll never get a job. I'll never do anything. Stuff like that, and it triggers panic and being like urgent, right? So a way to deal with this is by grounding yourself and asking yourself, okay, I might lose this friendship, but what are 3 other outcomes that could happen? They could apologize and be like, oh, or they could be like, oh, it's nice to disagree. They could, yes, of course, maybe get upset. Or it could just be like they might change their mind and agree with you. You know? There are multiple different options. And if the worst case happened, what would I even do? Like what? And how likely is it realistically for the worst thing to happen? How actually likely is this bad thing going to happen? Look at the facts, look at like evidence and be like, is this really likely that this is going to happen to me? Hello, Yona! Yona, hello! So that's catastrophizing. That's the catastrophizing room. Plan for the worst, hope for the best is my motto. Plan for the worst and hope for the best is my... That's what I try to do. That's what I do too. Next is should statements. So it's rigid rules about how you, others, and life must be. So it should be like, it's like, I should be happy right now. I shouldn't be living with my parents. I should be living alone. They should know what I need without having to ask. I shouldn't need help. This person should do this for me. This should be happening. Thank you. What it does is create guilt. If you're like, I'm not happy right now, so I feel guilty for not being happy. I'm living with my parents, so I feel guilty, and then you feel shamed. And it creates this perfectionism that you put yourself on this pedestal, or you put others on a pedestal, so it can create resentment because they are not living up to the standards that you put for them. And obviously you deserve to be treated like good, like well. Not saying you should put up with bad treatment from others, but being like, they should do this, they should do that, and getting mad when they don't do it creates a lot of resentment. You have to join the Pom Squad. So a way to ground yourself on this is swapping should with I prefer, I value, I want, it would help if. So instead of being like, I shouldn't be living with my parents, I should be living alone, it would be more like, I'd prefer being independent and living on my own, but it's okay to need support sometimes. I'd prefer to be independent and be on my own, but it's okay. It's okay to be where I am in life. You know? It's changing that mindset and just changing how you word it in your head, the meaning you make of it. Right? Instead of being like, should this, like bunch of rules and everything, should not put those rules onto you. Goes from expectation to a preference. Exactly. But right now it's not possible. Exactly. And then be like, what steps do I need to make it possible? So instead of just being like, I should be doing this, and then you feel guilty and bad, and then you don't do anything, you could be like, I prefer being independent, living on my own, but it's not possible right now. What steps do I need to take to make that a possibility? Kelson, it's not about you shouldn't having worms in your head. It's about how you it's about noticing them, questioning them, and replacing them with more balanced thinking. Okay. Next one. Minimization. So, shrinking things that matter, such as your needs, your pain, your strength, or real harm. Going, it's not that bad. Anyone could do what I did. I don't deserve rest. Other people have it worse. I don't need a community of people. I do not need friends. What it does, it keeps you stuck, depleted, and self-silencing. For like, it wasn't that bad. Anyone could do what I could do. I'm just kidding. I love you, King. Mwah. Anyone could do what I could do. Like, I didn't do that much work. Like, it's not that big of a deal. Anyone could have done it. It blocks you from feeling pride and happy. It blocks you from getting support. It makes you feel stuck, like you're not doing enough. Like, it's it's silencing yourself. So it's important to ground yourself by being like, my experiences count. And also when people harm you or treat you poorly, you go, well, it wasn't that bad. Like, they didn't do that bad. It wasn't like the worst thing ever. Like, it's fine. It's whatever. Like, it wasn't that big of a deal. Your experiences count, and your effort and needs are real, even if others struggle too. It can also accidentally minimize the success of others around you and make others feel like their success doesn't matter. That's true. By minimizing your own success and minimizing your own needs, you perpetuate this thing where other people feel like they need to also minimize their needs. This is something I've been battling with. Don't listen to this worm. People deal with things in different ways, and and how you feel about something matters. Exactly. I can't believe I'm teaching you guys all this knowledge. This is evil for me to teach you guys this, because now you guys can just flip it around on me. What am I doing? Oh no. What? Oh wait, that's literally Spider-Man and Batman's room. Isn't that interesting? Stuff like this allows you to look at media differently. This is why I'm so fucking picky about media, by the way, because sometimes characters do things I'm like, that doesn't even fucking make sense. That pisses me off. I want you to be happy. I want you all to be happy too. Mwah. Okay, next. Arming with the greatest weapon knowledge. Ever thought it'd be used for good, like help ground you, not let your brain worm sped? True. Not wrong. Okay, next. Emotional reasoning. Assuming feelings are facts. I feel it, therefore it is true. So that's being like, I feel bad, so I must have done something bad. This feels bad, which means it is bad. This feels good, which means it is good. What it does, it lets moods become the judge and jury by turning temporary emotions into permanent verdicts. It goes, I feel this way, so it must be this way. But that's not the truth. You know what feels bad but is actually good? Working out. You know what feels good but is bad? Methamphetamine. I don't know what methamphetamine is. But like... But you get what I mean. Just because something feels good doesn't make it, like, true. Does that make sense? So just because... You get it? You get it now? So just because gambling, when you get the win, feels good, that doesn't mean it's good for you in the long term, right? Or just because you feel like you messed something up doesn't mean that it's bad. I don't know how to explain this. How do I explain this? Okay, wait, no. Just because you're feeling guilty about like randomly, or no, just because you're feeling sad doesn't mean you did something bad. Just because I had an example in mind when I wrote this, but now I forget it. Fuck. Just because you feel anxious after a job interview doesn't mean that you did bad. It could just be that you're anxious because you went to a job interview, right? I think that's like a better way. That's what I meant. So ground yourself by going, feelings are signals. They are your body's signal, but not verdicts. You cannot go, this feels bad, so therefore it is bad. Having a tough conversation and letting someone know how you feel fucking sucks. Or being held accountable by others and being told how they feel when they're upset does not feel good. But that doesn't mean that it's bad. In fact, it's good to listen to others when they tell you that they're upset. It's important to learn from that. Just because it feels bad and you feel bad doesn't mean that it's bad to do that. And that means that you have to avoid letting your friends tell you when they're upset. Or you have to avoid telling your friends when you're upset, even though it's hard and it's hard to tell them. Just because it feels bad doesn't mean it's a bad thing, because people are not going to know how to properly treat you unless you tell them, because people aren't mind readers, right? And the only person that's going to look out for you is you. Does that make sense? So ask yourself, when you feel something, ask yourself, what facts support this? If you're talking to your friend, you're like, I feel bad. Be like, okay, is this actually bad to do this? No, I'm telling them what I feel, and that's important to do, to have boundaries and tell them about my emotions. Did I do this in an appropriate manner? Did I take them, like, did I do it in privately and do it nicely? Okay, yeah, I did. So I didn't do it in a bad way. Because if you feel bad and you're like, oh, maybe I could have handled it better. And if that's the case, you learn for next time. You go, how could I have handled this better next time? But what facts support this? What facts don't? Then be like, well, it's good to talk to people, like all those things. An example is like, I feel anxious. My body must think there's danger right now. Let's check the evidence. So being like, I feel anxious right now. My body thinks there's danger. What's happening in my environment? What's happening, what just happened to me? What facts support what my conclusion and my brainworms say? What facts don't? What is actually happening? Knowing brainworms doesn't help just you. It can also help your friends with theirs by recognizing them. Exactly. Exactly. Like, getting past the anxiety of this can show you... Past the anxiety of this can show you if... positive in your life. I think if knowing if someone's positive in your life is knowing... It's a lot more complicated. If you've been bending to accommodate them. That is true. That is true, because if you can't go to a friend and tell them that they hurt you in a nice way, because obviously there's ways to go about conflict, instead of going like, you do this, you do this, you do this, you fuck this up, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. Being like, I feel this way when this happens. I don't appreciate when this happens. It makes me feel this way. Maybe in the future we could look at doing this instead. You know? And if someone reacts poorly to that, that says more about them than you. That says that they need to work on themselves and not you. And that person might not be good for you in your life. At that time. Not saying forever, but just like maybe they need space. Maybe they're having a bad like day that day. Maybe like there's a lot going on, but like maybe you just need, you know what I mean? Things are complicated, and we'll get into that in a minute. But yes. You took psychology in school. It's a little bit more complicated than this. This is not psychology theory, I don't think. No, this is counseling theory. This is a counseling theory. What I'm teaching you is not psychology. But it is psychology, but it's counseling theory. This is the stuff that counselors teach you about. If you got therapy, this is kind of like what they work on. In a sense, kind of. Depends on the therapist. Next. Disqualifying the positive. Positives don't count. It's going, they're just being nice. I only succeeded because it was easy. That doesn't matter. It lets the mood become the judge and jury by turning... Wait, I fucked up. Okay, we do not have disqualifying the positives because I messed up that slide. RIP. You guys never get to know. It's kind of similar to minimization in a sense. It's the best one to do because it's minimization. But instead of... Wait, let me just find what I wrote down. Let me just find what I wrote down. I just find what I wrote down. 1 second. Okay. Yeah, it's like basically the same. Wait, no, oh, that was minimization. So, rejecting good things that doesn't count. It's like a luck or a pity or a fluke. And starves self-esteem and keeps the goalpost, it keeps the goalpost moving. So you can never actually feel like you're like doing enough. The difference between minimization and overlooking the positive is that minimization just makes it smaller, while overlooking the positive just completely negates it and gets rid of it completely. Okay, next one. Mental filtering. Focusing on one negative detail and ignoring everything else. So getting like 9 compliments and 1 criticism, and then your brain only replays the criticism or focuses on the criticism. It does not listen to any of the, like, it does not remember any of the positive things that the person said about you. Going like, that interview was awful because you answered 1 thing wrong out of the 20 questions asked. This trains your brain to only scan for danger, only scan for mistakes, only look at things that you fuck up. It does not train yourself to have a balanced view. It trains yourself to just be like, I'm only focusing on what's bad. Hi, Forrest. So doing this, how do you deal with this is grounding yourself. It's a lot of just like, what did I miss? List all the evidence, not just the loudest ones, and thinking about what went right. You can see that there's like a lot of overlap between the different cognitive distortions and also how to help yourself. Bye, kid! Mwah! This YouTuber on negative comments on, yeah, when you're awake at night replaying that one embarrassing memory from school. Hey, how did my brain room get on the slide? I don't know, man. Shit. I just read your brain, I guess. Okay. Wait, what did I just do? Okay. Next one. All or nothing worm. Black and white thinking. No shades of gray. If I'm not the best, I am nothing. My friends forgot my birthday. They must not care about me at all. I ate 1 unhealthy snack, so my diet is a total failure. It's me again. You do all or white thinking. No shades of gray. There's about 50 shades of gray, by the way. About 50. What is my therapist? I am not a therapist. I am not a therapist. I did schooling in therapy, counseling theory and everything in counseling, but I'm not qualified. So what it does is create extremes, and it burns out breakups. It creates like, and the extremes create like burnout, you know, like breakups, quitting, like leaving your friends, like it, you know what I mean? It creates a shame spirals too. Because you go, I'm not doing enough, or my friends don't like me, or all those things. So you end up just like leaving things quicker and having avoidance, or just having a lack of motivation. Because you're like, oh, well, if I'm not perfect, might as well not even try. Right? This is a big worm in me too. And like I said, guys, a lot of people get a lot of these. I can do black and white thinking sometimes. Fuck, I do it all the time. But it's just about grounding yourself and remembering and reevaluating it and trying to have a more balanced view. You know? So most real life is on a spectrum. Most of real life is on a spectrum. It's not black or white. It's not all or nothing. So try using a ranking things. So try ranking things instead. Be like, this was a 6 out of 10 day. So not a total failure. Being like, how bad is this actually out of 10? This is why I love Tokopi's original sin, because the message of Tokopi's original sin is all or nothing, black and white thinking. If you guys have watched it before, there's this moment where a big message of it, without spoilers, is like bad people, good people can do bad things because people are not black and white. People don't always just make good decisions. People can also make bad decisions. But just because people make bad decisions and you can understand that, also doesn't mean that you need to put up with mistreatment. Right? You don't need to keep yourself in situations where you feel disrespected or hurt. And minimize that by going, well, it's not that bad. And also they have their own issues. So of course be understanding, but if it's putting your own health at risk, you know what I mean? But that's off topic. So try ranking things, try having a more grounded approach and remembering that not the life's on a spectrum, because by doing black and white, you're making big extremes and you're ignoring the complexities that make humans human, that the humans are complex. We're not just bad or good. We are multifaceted with multiple layers, like an onion, like Shrek says. This is personally difficult if you have OCD. And by the way, all these things I'm saying, like there are so many conflicting factors, or like sometimes people like with personality disorders are more prone to having all or nothing thinking. They are more likely to think those things, and like because they jump to and that's how their brain is protecting them. Like it is very like, and also like other like this presentation is not taking into account like the broad spectrum of mental mental conditions and everything. This is just I'm introducing you to CBT and cognitive distortions. Next, personalization. Assuming you caused something that may not actually be about you. So it's like, they're quiet, so I must have done something wrong. They didn't invite me because I'm unlikable. That meeting was tense. It must have been my fault. What this does is it raises your anxiety. It raises your self-blame because that's literally what you're doing. It makes you become a people pleaser because you always feel like you're the problem. You always feel like you have to fix things. So you'll put yourself out there and try and take care of things and apologize and solve problems for people that might even like over solving outside of what you should be doing without and it also creates a social fear. Yeah, they do. There is a name for it. See, it's good to name things, right? It's good to have names for things. So, ground yourself when this happens. Other people have internal worlds. Other people have things going on. Not everything's about you. Sorry, that's my favorite thing. Every time one of my friends start doing it, I go, "Oh my God, not everything's about you. Get over it." I don't actually mean it like that, but I don't mean it meanly because I'll listen to them. But I'll just be like, "Oh my God, not everything is about you." And I don't mean get over it because I know it's more complicated. I'm not trying to, me saying that, my friends know that I will always sit and call and listen to them and care about them whenever they have any issues. But when they start, I like cut them off and go, "Oh my God, it's not about you. Stop." I try to like call them out on their own thoughts before they have them. You know? But yeah, so other people have internal worlds. So ask yourself, what are 5 non-me reasons? What are 5? So like, let's say the meeting or so someone's quiet, so I must have made them upset or something's wrong. What are 5 non-me reasons? They could have had a bad day at work. They could be hungry. They could be going through like interpersonal stress. They might have an upcoming project that they're thinking about. There are so many different things. What % is actually mine? You know what I mean? Trying to think about, because a lot of the time when you're doing this personalization, you're so focused on your internal world that you forget to empathize with, like, and put yourself in someone else's shoes. You start thinking, oh, this is like a personal attack on me. And you're not considering the circumstances in which someone might be dealing with. Right? You know? Or like the meeting was tense. It must have been my fault. Might have been tense because it was a tense conversation that was happening. Might have been tense. Might not even actually been tense. Just people wanted to get out of there. People were tired of being in that meeting. They didn't want to be there, you know? There's a bunch of different other reasons. It's less likely that someone hates you if they're spending active time with you. Okay, next one. Blaming! Over-assigning responsibility either to yourself or entirely to others without a balanced view of contributing factors. Self-blame. It's all my fault. Other blame. It's all your fault. What this does is it blocks learning. It stops you from learning because you're either able to be like, I am the problem. I'm the problem. So, and then it can fall into other things where it's like, like generalizing, being like, I'm always the problem, and then catastrophizing, being like, I'm always mess stuff up. Like, it can go into other things, and it stops you from learning and problem solving. And if you're blaming others, it stops you from learning, being able to solve the problem and to deal with the problem and to deal with, like, okay, this person messed up. Like when I'm playing League, instead of going, my team fucking sucks. You all fucking suck. You suck so bad. Go, okay, what role am I playing in this? And instead of feeling anger about them messing up or shame that I messed up, learn from the situation and be like, what can I do better next time? What can I do better? Because responsibility can be shared without shaming anyone. Doesn't have to be like, I'm at fault, I'm the bad person, I did everything wrong. And it doesn't have to be, you're at fault, you've done everything wrong. It can ask yourself, what's my part, if any? What did I do in this situation? What did I do? What's their part? What did they do? And what's the circumstances? What's my part? I didn't ping that my laner disappeared. What's their part? They fucking died like a little bitch. What's the circumstances? The enemy champion we're playing against is fed right now and has ahead in gold and has more items. You know? What can I learn better? I can signal that enemy is missing. Sorry, I don't know why I'm doing a League analogy. Please ignore me. I'm insane. I don't know why I did a League. I think League is the one. I tend not to blame others, except when it comes to League of Legends. Okay. Next. Mind reading. Deadlock analogy would be the exact same thing. What's my part, if any? I didn't tell them that my enemy was missing. What's their part? Dying. What's the circumstances? They're fed and they have more power, like more items than me. It's the same thing. Deadlock analogy is the same because deadlock is just League of Legends. Deadlock is League of Legends. Sometimes people do this towards you and it'll take everything out on you, and it can take a sense of guilt in yourself that doesn't need to be there. Knowing this lets you see it in others. That is true. When people blame you, you can also allow yourself to be like, okay, they're blaming me for a lot of this right now. What's my part? What's their part? What's the circumstances? It allows you to see when other people are blaming you and to take less of the blame onto yourself, right? So I had a situation where I talked to someone, I asked someone, hey, I noticed that you haven't really, like, you keep saying that you want to, like, hang out, but then avoiding me, and then we'll hang out with other people that day. What's up? And then she responded blaming me with a bunch of stuff. And I thought for a second, okay, I did do something wrong, but, like, it took them months to talk to me about it until I had to come to them, and they exploded on me. And during those circumstances, there was a lot of things that led up to me doing that without me knowing. And I was able to hear them blame me for all this shit and be like, okay, well, yes, I did mess up and I apologize. Don't, like, I don't appreciate you blowing up on me about this. And I feel like this could have been handled better. And also, I don't think you're taking understanding of the situation that happened. And that's a part where I realized, where was the one that I brought it up? So I had the emotional reasoning where it's like, it feels bad to have those conversations, and it feels bad to be told all these things, but that doesn't mean I am bad. And I talked to myself and I realized that, yeah. And I didn't minimize like what I went through, like where she was. It wasn't like, oh, well, it's not that bad. Like I did mess up. So like she has a right to like get mad at me. I was like, no, I don't deserve to be talked to like that. So I didn't minimize it. And I ended up, I took into consideration. I was like, I am going through a lot right now. I don't deserve to go through this. I'm going to take space. And even though saying that is hard to say, I still said it. And that's what I did. You know? And I didn't think, oh, she's an awful person or anything. I just think that the way that she communicated wasn't great. You know? And I don't think she was the entire problem. Like I said, I did some things wrong. Yeah. My company tries to do this all the time, so you can go 10 steps wrong further in the pipeline. Don't let them blame you. Don't let others blame you for shit that they also fucking did. People can take fucking responsibility. That pisses me off. I know it's hard to take responsibility. That's why people avoid it. Because of the emotional reasoning. It's like, a lot of people also have this thing where it's like, that thing that someone did, that thing that you're saying I did is bad. But I can't be a bad person. So then they have this thing called cognitive dissonance, which like we could talk about later. But it's like, where you feel this disconnect or this uncomfortable feeling of like, am I a bad person? Because like if someone who does something bad has to be a bad person. But it's like recognizing that everything's not all black and white and it's more complex and so complicated. Isn't brains so fun and complicated? This is why I say I love brains. I love brains so much. They get me so excited. I love brains. 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 Anyways. Yeah, so don't let people blame you for shit because obviously take accountability. Taking accountability is really important. Taking accountability is the sexiest thing you could do. Taking accountability allows you to learn. Because if you just avoid accountability, you will never learn and grow and be a better person. But do not blame yourself for everything. It's not, neither, relationships especially are like, take two people to tango. It's never just one person in an issue. You could be an absolute, like, inconsiderate asshole. You could walk over someone completely. And that's not a good thing to do. That's not nice. You should not do that. But unless that person speaks up and says, hey, I don't feel great when you do that. Could you stop? You are not going to know that. And a lot of people with like, who are on the spectrum or ADHD, they sometimes don't even realize that they're being selfish. And it takes someone to tell them that. So even though you like sometimes are being selfish, someone also has the responsibility of letting you know that they're upset. You cannot assume that. If someone has been upset at you for something you did and never talked to you about it, it is not your fault past that issue. It's there. It becomes like the thing that you did wrong. But if they don't talk to you, that starts to become a them issue.
Nothing worm. She must mean the Enos.
Fuck off. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you. People have responsibility to communicate and stand up for themselves because no one's going to stand up for them themselves. No one else is going to stand up for them. Does that make sense? Sorry, I'm like packing on a ton of information right now. I'm layering that shit on right now. Okay. Next. Mind reading. Assuming you know what someone's thoughts and feelings without checking. So that's going, they think I'm annoying. They're judging me. They regret inviting me to this. What it does is it creates social anxiety because you start going, oh my God, they hate me. They think I'm annoying. I shouldn't talk. I should be more quiet. It creates shame. It creates withdrawal and avoidance of social situations because you think that you try to read everybody's brain and you're like, oh my God, everybody hates me. And then it creates reassurance thinking, being like, hey, are we good? Do you hate me right now? Are we good? Hey, do we hate me? Do you hate me? So ground yourself unless they tell you, it's a guess. And that's why it's very important to communicate when you are feeling like annoyed by someone's actions. When you are feeling like a certain way. That's why if you do regret inviting someone to an event, don't just be like, I'm never going to invite them again. Talk to them about their behavior. Be like, I didn't appreciate when you did this. Allow them, give people the opportunity to learn, right? Give people the opportunity to learn to be better. And if the person doesn't change or show any effort into changing, that says more about them, right? And it shows that maybe they're not in the right place to be in your life, and maybe you shouldn't invite them to things. If they're not going to take your concerns and learn from them and grow to be a better person for you, then maybe, you know what I mean? Because if they went and called your Aunt Linda a fucking cunt, you're like, hey, can you not do that? And they're like, okay, I will never. I'm so sorry, I won't do that again. And then they never do it again. That's how relationships work, right? And then they end up calling your but if they end up calling your nephew a cunt in later, then obviously they're not respecting you and your words, and maybe you shouldn't have invited them. But that's if someone communicates to you. If someone doesn't communicate you to things, you're just guessing what they feel. It doesn't mean that it's true. It doesn't mean that they find you annoying. It doesn't mean that they judge you. It doesn't mean that they regret inviting you, because it's their responsibility to tell you. And maybe if you want to, you can ask, or you can wait for more evidence, and see by their behaviors and their actions on what that tells you. Right? Mind reading. Yeah, people pleasing. That's what it's like, the reassurance place. People pleasing. Yeah. Next. Fortune telling. Ooh. Predicting a negative future as if it's a fact and will 100% happen. So thinking, oh, if I do that, I'm going to embarrass myself. I feel so sad and depressed. I'm never going to feel better. It's always going to be like this. And being like, oh, I could do this thing, but it always ends badly. So it's probably just going to be the same thing. What it does is you feel hopeless. You feel like there's no point in trying or doing anything. So it kills your motivation. And then by doing this, it makes avoidance of situations, avoidance of doing things, avoidance of trying to make relationships, avoiding of putting yourself out there become logical, because you're like, this is going to go bad anyways. I might as well just not even try. So you stop trying. And by doing that, the prediction ends up winning. The prediction ends up wins because you end up not putting yourself out there or doing anything, or let's say you're like, oh, I could try and be I could put myself out there and ask this girl that I like out, but she's gonna reject me anyways, so I might as well not even do it. And so then you end up not getting asked that, going on a date with her at all, so that the prediction ends up winning because you end up just not doing it anyways. So to ground yourself, tell yourself, I'm predicting, not knowing. And try and look at past events, past patterns, past things that people have done for a more accurate forecast of the future. So call me the oracle the way I be fulfilling my own prophecy. There's this thing in psychology called self-fulfilling prophecies, where you say something is going to happen so much that you will it into existence. Me being like, I'm bad at video games, I'm bad at video games, I'm bad at video games, wills me being bad at video games into existence. Me saying, I suck, I hate myself, wills me hating myself into existence. But if I go, I'm the shit, hottie, like a bag of Takis. But it's more complicated with that, with self-esteem. But when it comes to you can take pride in yourself for trying and failing. Exactly! You miss 100% of the shots that you don't take! Hi, Kevin, I love you, mwah! You miss 100% of the shots you do not take. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Okay, next one. Overgeneralization. Taking one event and turning it into a broad rule. So, I failed once, so I always fail. They forgot, so nobody cares. Since one person of that group hurt me, they must all hurt me. This creates global shame and despair. It creates identity conclusions from small samples, and it shrinks your willingness to try. You go, well, I didn't do good at that game, so I'm gonna do bad at all games. Well, I didn't do well, like trying to skate the first time I did, so I'm not gonna try it again. Well, I got rejected by one woman, so all women will always reject me. So I might as well not even try to ask a girl out, you know? But instead of doing that, ask yourself, how many data points do I actually have on this? So like, if you've tried skating for like years upon ends, and you're still like hurting yourself and messing up, maybe there's like a deeper issue. You might have a balance issue. There might be something deeper in there. Or let's say you've like asked like 600 women out on a date and all of them say no. Maybe there's something that you need to change about yourself. Maybe it's the way you present yourself. Maybe it's the way you talk. Like there's like different things, but most of the time you don't really have that much data. You have like one or two things, and it's not realistic to jump on it and assume that is 100% what's going to happen in the future. So it's important to recognize, is this a pattern or just a moment? Oh, no worries, Riptide, I love you, mwah! So, yeah. What do you guys think of overgeneralization? Does anybody do that, where you have one thing and you assume that's the future forever? Forever? Hello, Mumsy, hello! 600 ladies reject you, it's time to take care of yourself. If 600 women reject you, it's time to look inward, I think. That's what I mean. You know, because that's a pattern. And not just a singular thing. I ask out every woman I see, and now I'm on a list. I don't know, dude. I think at one point it's eventually going to work. Like, you can't ask out every single woman you see, and a woman not, like, sounds so fucked up. This is going to sound so fucked up. Okay, listen. Don't. In society, women have this expectation to be kind and polite. And so you can't ask every single woman you see and not one of them feel like this moral obligation to be a nice person and go out with you. That wouldn't happen. If you ask 600 women, at least one of them will go out with you because, not for good reasons, but because they feel bad. That sounds so bad. That sounds so fucked. But this is like you just asking them without knowing them at all. Like you just literally the first thing you said to them was, will you go on a date with me? Will you go out with me? It's not like you getting to know them and everything. It's just like the first thing you say. I just dropped it in the exact slide I come to and describe my thoughts these past week. Fuck. You should rewatch the VOD, Lumsy. Excuse me, miss. I saw you from across the street, and I was wondering if you'd go out with me. Well, I guess so. Oh, do you? Sure, I guess. Trying to reserve, I felt wrong. Involve people where my mental health is bad. That's so fair. Take care of yourself first. You have to be. You can't pour from an empty cup. You can't love someone if you can't love yourself. Can I get an amen up in here? Is there anything? No such thing as a get to know you date. I think those happen. I don't know. I'm not really well versed in that. I talk to women because genuinely interested in knowing them, not because you expect a date or that's a nice guy. Yeah, that's true. But that was just the example. I'm sorry. It's not the best with overgeneralization, but that's so fucked. At least one, if you ask 600 women out on a date, at least one of them would feel bad enough to say yes. That's so fucked. Okay, let's move on to the next one. I think this is the last one that I have written. And I think a lot of us deal with this one. It's called labeling. Turning a behavior or a moment into a global identity or statement. I'm a loser. I'm crazy. I'm pathetic. They're trash. They're crazy. They're a loser. They're pathetic. It locks you into shame or contempt. You either feel shamed about yourself. You're like, because you feel all those ways about yourself. Or you feel angry because about the other person. You feel contempt. About them. And it blocks change. Because if you could just go, I'm crazy. Like, well, I'm crazy, so it blocks the ability to be like, what parts of me contribute to my behavior being seen as unstable, and how can I change those parts? It just gets, or it's like this person's a bad person, so there's no reason to try and solve the problem, to try and to like fix it. There's no like Greg came to my house and he called my grandma a cunt. He must be an asshole. There's no reason to try and solve it. I'll just get rid of him. You know? And it reduces complex humans to one word. We've already established that humans are like onions. They have layers. Very difficult to not feel ashamed. That is true. But it's important to ground yourself and remember that people are complex. And just because you did a bad thing doesn't mean that you're bad. Just because you acted hurtfully doesn't mean that your entire personality is evil. When you are talking to yourself and you find yourself going, I'm a loser, I'm bad, I'm awful, try and reframe that thought by describing your behavior, not the identity. I did a clumsy thing. They acted inconsiderately in that moment. I didn't handle that conversation well. Trying to change the way that you perceive a situation so that, you know, instead of just like labeling yourself something, describe the behavior. Because if you are just a bad person, in hypothetical terms, if you are just a bad person, you can never learn because you're just a bad person. So it gets rid of this like responsibility or desire to change and grow, because you're able to just easily go, well, that's who I am. No, it's not. You can change. You can grow. Just assigning a label to yourself does not accurately allow, like, it just makes you feel ashamed and bad. What if behavior is so consistent it becomes accurate? Well, if the behavior is so consistent, then maybe it's time to change those patterns. And if it's someone else's patterns, that says more about them than it does about yourself. And you have to evaluate on if that person's patterns is healthy for you. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? And I asked a girl that she agreed to date. Was apparently displeased at it and let the first girl dropping in. The group freezing me out. I'm so sorry to hear that. I'm so sorry to hear that, Bucky. That doesn't make sense. But it sounds like they were dealing with their own brain worms in that situation. Right? I'm so sorry, though. My man said I journal and write down counter thoughts to my negative ones. I worry this will be futile, but I'm going to give this a try. Yes, you should, because it does help. It does help because, okay, I've done this analogy so many times, but when we get these automatic thoughts, it's very hard to counter them in the moment because we do not have new neural pathways built. But by journaling and writing down counter thoughts, you're slowly, like, imagine yourself walking through a new field of snow. You are slowly creating new neural pathways. And each time you write it down and counter those thoughts in your journal, you are going through that snow again and again. And the more you go through the snow, the more a path actually creates in your brain. So you're more easily able to access this information or the better thoughts in the moment when you get those thoughts, as opposed to later when you're sitting down and journaling. Nelly, I missed you. I hope you've been well. Thank you so much for stopping by. It's nice to see you. Well, if it happened very recently, I can understand that you might be exhausted and confused. Have you, like, it's hard, right? It's hard. Something I'd like to point out is that you can know something, but feel differently. It takes time and reassurance to learn to feel that way. There's definitely... Guys, I am the queen. I am the queen of knowing, but not being able to feel it. Being like, I know all of this information about my brain and why the way I feel the way that I do and why my brain is doing these things, but that doesn't stop my brain from doing those things. Thank you. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Just because I know doesn't mean that it changes how I feel. That is a very important thing. But you need to act in alignment with the knowledge. Go ahead and have a good day. Okay. We're on the last part. Strategies to manage brain worms. Strategies to manage them. Yay. Yeah, it's always fun when you're super good at metacognition, but you can't get the feelings to line up. Yeah, it's like, it's a prison. Brain knows everything you do. Yeah. Okay. One way that CBT suggests dealing with cognitive distortions is by catching them. What's the thought and what's the trigger? Checking. What's the evidence for and against? Is there any alternative explanations? And changing. What's a more balanced thought that I could actually practice? Let's get in that to let's dissect this a bit more. So, step 1. Name the worm. This guy's going, the worm's saying, your friends didn't message you back, so they hate you. And he's going, that's the catastrophizing worm. So naming it, the goal isn't never think bad thoughts ever, because that's impossible. Sorry. Hate to be that person. But the goal is to catch it sooner and buy yourself choices. So this means try like labeling the distortion and then labeling the pattern. Because labeling the pattern creates, like labeling it creates distance. It helps you recognize it's a thought, not a fact. It helps you go, okay, this is something that's happening in my brain. This is like a little guy, a little worm in my brain telling me this, but that doesn't mean it's a fact. Okay? Step 2, reality testing. The goal is not to create fake positive thoughts or lean into toxic positivity, but to have a more balanced and accurate thoughts. So when you experience something like that, when you have the catastrophizing thought or whatever thought you have, ask yourself, what's the evidence for and against these thoughts? What are 3 other explanations? And if my friend said this to me, what would I tell them? What would I tell them if they told me that, like, oh, my friends that message me back because they hate me? Now I'm worried there are worms in your brain. There is no worms in your brain. This is just an analogy. Replace them all with me, yeah! So ask yourself those quick questions. And sometimes it's easier to do that after the fact. So that's why journaling is so important. Because in the moment, it's hard to ask yourself those questions. But if you can reanalyze the situations that you've been through and thoughts you've experienced, you are better training your brain to be able to do it in the moment. Next, step 3. Balance it with replacement thoughts. A good replacement thought should feel credible, calming, and actionable. So try, if it's catastrophizing, try this is hard but not fatal. Mind reading, I don't know, I can ask or wait. All or nothing, there are shades and I'm learning. There are different shades and I'm just learning that. So it's trying to replace it with a balanced thought. So if you're journaling, you want to write down, name the worm. Like you want to write down, okay, I've experienced this thought. And ask yourself those questions and write down the answers. Then be like, what should I think? What should I have thought? Like, what should I have replaced this thought with? And then you write down a more balanced thought. And then you can do some behavioral experiments. Instead of arguing with the worm for 3 hours, run a little experiment. You could try, if it's a mind reading worm, you can ask clarifying questions. You could be like, hey, are we good? Like, is everything okay? If it's a fortune telling worm, do the thing for 10 minutes and collect data. So even if you think it's going to end badly, still try to do it and see how it goes. Or the all or nothing worm, submit the B+ version of an assignment and just see what happens. It might not be as bad as you think it is. And lastly, nervous system support. When your body is activated, distortions get louder. So what this means is back to our other session that we did on attachment theory. Your when your nervous system is activated, the distortions get louder because you're in flight or fight and your brain's trying to protect itself, right? So try slowly breathing, exhale breathing, longer exhale than inhale, because we talked about how inhales are trying to rev you up for action while exhales actually relax you. Movement, try walking, shaking out your arms, stretch, do some actions, put that nervous energy into physical energy. Make sure that you've handled your basic needs. Check if you've slept, you had food, you've hydrated, and then do some grounding exercises. Name 5 things you can see, 4 things you can feel, 3 things you can hear, etc. Try to just bring yourself out of your brain and into the moment, because it's hard to think clearly when you're in a flight or fight state. And step 6, arguably one of the most important steps, is it's important to be gentle with yourself. Tell yourself, of course my brain went there. It's trying to protect me. But we're choosing accuracy. I can be kind and accountable. I can make mistakes and still be kind to myself and accountable. This thought is understandable, but does not make it true. You can be like, empathize with yourself. Be like, I understand why I'm feeling this way, but that doesn't mean that it's a reality. I think that this is the most important part because this helped me have more confidence. Self-compassion really is important. Like I always used to go, whatever, blah, blah, blah. No, it is. You have to tell yourself, I understand why you feel that way. Tell yourself like you're talking to an internal child. Be like, I understand why you're feeling that way. But that doesn't mean that it's true. You can feel something and it cannot be true. And it's okay. You know? Have compassion with yourself. Love yourself, you know? Even if you don't love yourself, pretend to. Fake it till you make it, baby. Self-fulfilling prophecies and shit. Because reflection feels bad, which means it's not good for me. No, that's not true. That's not true. We just talked about this. That's emotional reasoning. Emotional reasoning. Assuming feelings are facts. I feel it, therefore it's true. I feel bad. This feels bad, which means it's bad. It lets your mood become the judge and jury by turning temporary emotions into permanent verdicts. Feelings are signals, not verdict. So it just means like journaling is probably making you feel like you have to explore that feeling. Be like, why do I feel bad about this? What am I feeling bad about? A lot of the times when you're feeling bad about something, it's because you're not living in alignment with your values. And your values are very important. It feels like this disconnect. And so it's being like, what are my values and how can I live more in alignment with them? What am I not currently doing that is in line with what I believe and what I value in life? Okay. Okay. We're basically at the end. So when to get extra support? If your brainworms are intense, constant, or leading to self-harm thoughts, severe avoidance, panic, or inability to function, it's a good idea to seek professional help. CBT therapist, well, like a therapist in general, it doesn't need to just be CBT. Counselor, doctor, CBT skills are learnable and you don't have to do it alone. Cognitive distortions are not your fault, but they are patterns to learn and it's your responsibility to learn from them. They're not your fault, but it's your responsibility. They've been practicing for years now. It's insane how much easier it is to cope with issues immediately. Yeah, exactly. Nervous on that board before you take off doesn't mean... Yeah, exactly. I used to be a competitive swimmer in high school. You're nervous on that board before takeoff, but that doesn't mean you're not going to win. Exactly. Exactly. You should listen to your body because bodies are telling you things and those things matter. But sometimes it doesn't mean that you shouldn't do things. It's just telling you that you're nervous to do it. Which if you're nervous to do something, it means you care about it. If something's making you anxious about something, it just means you care. If you didn't care, you wouldn't be feeling anxious. Sometimes your body is just telling you this is an important thing for me. You know? Sorry. Means I have social phobia. That's also true. But that, yeah, where's that social phobia come from? The not being accepted and being ostracized and being kicked out of the group. What does that come down to? You want to be accepted. What does that mean? You care about being accepted. So your anxiety is coming down to something you care about. Sorry. I'm very passionate about this. If I tell me to go eat because it's already midnight, go to sleep, Nelly. I hope to see you again. I love you. Mwah, 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 mwah. I needed to hear that. Oh, well, I'm glad I can help. I really am. I'm really glad. Sorry if I'm all over the place with my emotions, like when I do these mental health streams. There's just so much knowledge that I have in my brain that I'm trying to get out to you guys. And like brains are like so interlinking and there's so many different parts and so many different things that go on in your brain. And it's so complicated and they all like blend together and brains are so complicated. And that's why therapists use different types of theories. And the more you learn about brains, the more things make sense. And the more things make sense, the more things don't make sense. And you just want to learn more and more and more. And it's just everything. And all I do is hyperfixate on learning and self-development. Sorry. Anyways, homework. Homework for you guys. This week, I want you to catch one worm per day. I want you to write the trigger, what happened, the worm type, a balanced thought, and I don't know why I wrote one tiny action. Ignore that for now. 1 second. I wrote one tiny action, forgetting what that meant. 1 second. You don't need to do that. Okay. Just write these down. And don't beat yourself up if you're unable to do this. It's important to be compassionate about yourself. This homework is not meant to cause more stress. It's just to help you develop and learn. Do not, a good fisherman always has worms, but it's how he deals with those worms. That's all that matters. Worms to push you to grow, learn, be curious of worms, wonder what they're telling you. If they're trying to protect you, it must be something you care about. You know what I mean? So, try homework if you want to. No stress at all, but yeah. Thank you for watching. Yeah, I can make a playlist of my PowerPoint presentations. I could do that. Thank you guys for watching. I hope I was able to teach you stuff. I read the stuff of talking about Poma. I'll have to rewatch the VOD, think about where I am and what I need to improve. I'm gonna cry. I'm gonna cry. You saying that makes me want to cry. Holy shit. I'm gonna sob. Guys, if you oh my god. I'm gonna cry. Thank you guys. Thank you. If you guys don't know this, I used to be a social worker. Oh, thank you, Deadpool. Thank you so much. I love you so much. Mwah. Ti amo. Thank you. I used to be a social worker because helping people is really important to me, and something I'm very passionate about. But since I've been a full-time streamer, I feel like I haven't been making the same impact on people. But I've recognized that a lot of you guys who watch me, I'm not saying everybody, but like a lot of you guys don't have access to therapy, and you wouldn't be learning these things otherwise. You wouldn't be learning about this stuff otherwise. So I have the ability to actually access, this is a social work term. I'm about to use social work lingo right now, but I can access a population that wouldn't be receiving help otherwise. So by giving you guys this knowledge, I'm giving you the opportunity to help yourself. It's what you do with this knowledge. It's just like the same thing about like talking to your friend. Telling your friend, hey, you messed this thing up. You could give that person that knowledge and they can choose what to do with it. I'm giving you this knowledge and you can choose what you can make or do with this information. Whatever you want to do with it. But my goal is to help you better yourself and to be happier, because I want you to be happy. I want you to stop dealing with brainworms because I hate brainworms. Brainworms should go away. Thank you so much. What the heck? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, that one. Thank you so much. I love you so much. Thank you. Well, thank you so much. Well, thank you for outside your contract. Oh, thank you. Thank you for making me think about how I deal with my issues that I thought I already dealt with. I'm so glad I could help. I love you guys so. Alex, thank you. Thank you for forcing 5 people to sign their contract. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. I love you guys so much. I just want to help you all be happier and to trust yourself and love yourself the way that I love you. That's all I want in life. And even if like you don't do all these things that I like, the homework. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. I love you guys so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for forcing 5 people to sign their contract. And thank you for giving me money for these streams. Because despite how much it costs, I mean how much you're spending, at least it's cheaper than therapy. Just kidding. Sorry. The joke was not, thank you for giving me money. The joke was that at least it's cheaper than therapy. That was just a joke, sorry. I'm not saying you have to give me money for these streams. I do not, the joke wasn't that you have to give me money. The joke was just that it's cheaper than therapy. I love you. Oh, thank you, Kiko. Thank you. Thank you.
This is why I love Poma. Hope to see you
I love
tough
you
guy.
too. I love you. I think this genius statement is adorable. It makes it even more interesting. I'm glad you think you like my excitement. It's just because my autistic hyperfixation is brains. Most people have autistic hyperfixations that are like, oh, I really like insert activity here. I really love self-improvement and development and understanding how brains work. That's my hyperfixation. So if I can do good with that, there's that meme where a lot of the time I feel like this meme where people are like, wow, Poma, I really appreciate how much you know and how much you teach us and how much you talk about mental health. It's really great to see someone talk about mental health and to someone try and promote other people to better themselves and to work on themselves. And I'm like, thanks.
This stream not sponsored by BetterHelp.
It's not sponsored by BetterHelp. No, it's not. No, it's not. No, it's not. I'm like, thanks. It's my autistic hyperfixation. This is literally how I feel when doing mental health streams.
Here's something closer to therapy prices low. No, but genuinely these mental health streams are really helpful and impactful. You're amazing.
I wasn't saying that you had to give me mental health. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Ti amo. Te quiero. Thank you.
Give Poma money?
No, it's not giving me money. No.
Thank you for all of this, Poma.
No.
It helps tremendously, and I'm looking forward to listening again and taking this to heart. You've been a big part of me bettering myself, and I can't thank you enough for that.
I'm gonna cry. I'm gonna cry. Hearing you guys wanting to better yourself just makes me so happy. Thank you guys so much. Thank you. Thank you guys so much. Although when you came in a bit late, we're about to end. Okay, Derek? Yes, I just am so happy that you guys listen and want to grow, and I just love you all so much and want what's best for you. You all mean so much to me. You all make me so happy, and I just want to make you equally as happy. And if I can help you understand your brain, that's all that matters to me. And if I can cheer you on and uplift you, cheer you up and cheer you on as you try and better yourself, that's all that matters to me. So, thank you. Thank you guys for watching this stream. We're going to be doing a mental health stream every month. I haven't decided on the topic next month. It kind of just comes to me. There's a lot of things I could teach you about. I'm sorry. There's a lot of things. I want to do one about, like, finding the right type. Like, I want to do one on, like... Anyways, I'll figure it out. But I love you guys so much. In the meantime, please stay safe. And take care of yourself. Work on yourself. Remember to reflect, learn, grow, and most importantly, don't die!